Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Kentucky Christian Writers Conference YouTube channel. I am thrilled that you have joined us today, whenever this is, whether you're watching this the same day we put it up or whether you're watching it a month from now. We're glad that you're here. And as you may have picked up from our other videos, we are really wanting to introduce you to our faculty members and what they are bringing to the conference this year. So today I have with me Miss Heather Greer, and she is going to tell us a little bit about herself and a little bit about what she is going to bring to our conference. All right, so hello, Heather. Welcome to the channel. And first, if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, maybe where you're coming from and what you like to do for fun.
Well, my name is Heather Greer. I am a pastor's wife. I'm a mother of 4 who currently has an empty nest, which is totally new for me and my husband. I am a Gigi to 3. I am coming to you from Southern Illinois, McCanda, and that's close to Carbondale, Illinois, if you've heard of Southern Illinois University. I am so far south. I am 1 hour from Indiana, 1 hour from Kentucky, and 1 hour from Missouri. I am that far down the tip of Illinois. And I, for fun, like to bake. I like to do all kinds of crafts, probably more than my husband would like, because I'm always starting a new one and trying a new one. And he's like, shouldn't you stick with the one you did before? That's ridiculous. And I like to play board games and online games, and I occasionally binge watch my favorite shows.
Excellent. I love that your grandkids call you Gigi. That is really, really sweet. And I hear you on the crafting. I love crafts. In fact, we used to have a group of ladies that would get together here once a month and we would do a different kind of craft. And we learned all kinds of different things. And I think my husband would agree with yours that there comes a point where you're like, could you just stick with what you know? And that's ridiculous. All right. Well, what kind of writing do you do?
I do mostly contemporary Christian romance, although I did accidentally fall into doing a Christian historical romance. And I found out after I got done with it that I'm not opposed to more historical. I kind of liked it. And I do have a devotional, and I love to write devotions, whether posting them online or in my newsletter, things like that. And I have a writing craft book as well.
Oh, wonderful. What is your writing craft book about?
It's called You Write You, and it's about taking the rules that sometimes make us feel like failures as Christian writers and make us feel like, okay, have I heard God wrong? Am I not supposed to be doing this? Because I can't do this the way it's being taught. I can't use this tool that everyone else loves. I can't use this this program, whatever it happens to be. And so it's taking that, finding out the why of those and finding out the who you are, who God created you to be as a writer, and blending those together to get the same result in a way that works for you personally.
I love that. I do teaching on a couple of different aspects of writing. I teach a class on Scrivener, but I want that to be my message as well. You do you. You know, there's a lot of things that Scrivener does. Doesn't mean you have to use every aspect of it. And it doesn't mean that you have to do Scrivener. So you do what works for you, but here are some options. But I love that you're also writing devotionals. It's something that I am hoping to do in the future as well, with things that God has taught me and has walked through some hard times with me. But I noticed in your bio, it says that Heather's goal is always to write and speak truth to encourage God's people to live their faith. Can you tell us maybe what sparked that line?
I think it comes from where my heart is in ministry. You have some people that are very evangelical in nature. And yes, we're all supposed to share our faith. We're all supposed to share Jesus and the salvation message. But for me, my heart has always been with growing the body of Christ, with helping people see that it's when our faith is authentic, when it's 24/7, not just on Sunday, not just in this area of life or that area of life, but when it is who we are. When people look at us and go, that's a person of faith, that this is when we reach people best. This is when we're our most authentic. This is when people get the true message of God's love for them. And so I wanted to encourage people to see that faith isn't just praying before a meal or just going to church on Sunday or calling out to God when things get rough. Mm-hmm. Faith should be who we are. And so those are the characters I try to incorporate into my books.
That is so great. There is that quote that says, preach the gospel to the world, and if necessary, use words. Mm-hmm. And I love the heart behind that and the message of it. I do think that at some point to lead someone to salvation, you have to use words. But I like the message that gives to Christians that, it really is a walk. Mm-hmm. It's a lifestyle. It's mm-hmm. living for God, with God. And it's not just something that you do on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a message that we all need refreshed from time to time. But I wanted to focus again a little bit more about what is happening at Kentucky Christian Writers Conference mm-hmm. this year. You are teaching a couple of workshops, and they are building your writing community and ditching discouragement yes. and imposter syndrome. Yes. Would you say that your classes are more instructional, interactive, or inspirational in nature?
I think they're kind of all three. I do use a heavy scriptural influence, but I also use a lot of questions, interaction, object lessons, things like that as well. And I try to make it very practical and very doable. Something that when you walk away, you not only have the information you need, but the how to go out and incorporate this into your life for you. So I was kind of looking through that question, and I'm going, I really have to say it's all of them, because we all learn different ways too. And so we all need it coming from those different angles.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you're incorporating pieces of all three. And I love that you're addressing imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. It is a real challenge for a lot of writers. I would say every writer. Mm-hmm. But can you tell us a little bit for those that out there that may be new to that term, can you tell us maybe what that is?
In a nutshell, I would say it's feeling like you're in a place or doing a thing that you don't belong at, that you're not good enough for, that maybe you've always felt God called you to write, but you don't feel like a real writer for some reason. There's something in you that's saying, you're not actually this, so why don't you step aside? And that's the enemy talking, but there are a lot of different things that can cause it. And there are a lot of, and when it comes, it brings discouragement, and it can make you want to quit. And in my class on that, I actually talk about the things that in my writing life made me feel that way, and talk about some very practical steps on how to overcome that and other areas of discouragement in our writing life.
That's so good. This thing that you're talking about, this whole area, is one of the major things that sparked our theme this year for Kentucky Christian Writers Conference, Rise Up. I was at a conference this last year, and the speaker was saying, a lot of people struggle with, what's the purpose in writing Christian fiction? Aren't you just preaching to the choir? And she said, yeah, but the choir is sick. Mm-hmm. And so I think sometimes we are called to write for the lost and those that have no relationship with God. But I also think there is that place where we can write to other Christians to encourage,
Yes.
to lift them up and help them rise up wherever they are, whatever walk of life they're in, to arm them, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
for the battles around them, and the relationships around them as well. So I love that. I'm so excited about that class. It made me want to have to kind of slip in and hear what you're saying. You've talked a little bit about this already, but can you describe your teaching style just in general?
My teaching style tends to be comfortable. I am on this journey just like anybody who's in the class. I have not mastered. I know we're all supposed to be the experts, right? And in one sense, yes, we are, but we still struggle. Just like in our Christian lives, we will continue to struggle in our writing life. There are times when we're going to get hit by things, even though we already know the answer and we know the way to deal with these things. So very practical, very comfortable. I'm on this journey just like everybody else, very scripture based. In every element of my classes, I weave in the scriptural basis for what we're doing.
That is so good. And again, you've talked to this already, but I wanted to address it directly. What can participants expect to walk away with after attending one of your sessions?
In the discouragement class, it's going to be tools that they can use to, one, recognize when times of discouragement are coming and maybe what's causing them. Tools to help them overcome those times of discouragement, and encouragement that there are people that are going through the same thing. From the community class, that one, you're going to come away with how to grow that community, a real sense of why we need community as writers, and can't just keep ourselves to ourselves in our little office with our keyboard and all of this, but actually getting out there and supporting each other and being there for each other. And in both of the classes, you're going to get like physical takeaways, like a little bag of things to help you remember what we've gone over and to hopefully be an encouragement as you continue to walk out this writing journey.
What a rich package that you're going to bring to us. I so appreciate that. I also am understanding that you are coming to accept pitches for Scrivenings Press.
Mm-hmm.
That is so exciting. What is, because we get this confusion a lot especially among aspiring writers and newbie authors, what is an acquisitions editor and what exactly does that mean?
For me at Scrivening Press, it's kind of like a gatekeeper. I am the first in the line of acquisitions editors. I'm the one that when you send in your proposal through the online thing, I get it. I'm one of the ones that go to the different conferences and sit down with people and meet with them that way. So for me, I'm not the final answer. Somebody's not going to sit down with me and I'm not going to go, oh, yes, we're definitely going to publish this. We're going to offer you a contract. I don't have that. What I have is the ability to look through what's coming in and say, okay, this needs to go to the next level. This has these pluses going for it. And I think this is a story that would be beneficial to Scrivenings Press catalog. Or on the downside, the side that none of us like to be on, because quite frankly, as an acquisitions editor, it's probably my hardest thing to tell somebody no, to say, I don't think this is going to fit with Scrivenings Press. And I pray over that before I send a rejection, but I am the one who may come back and say, this isn't a fit for us. And here are some things that maybe you can keep in mind in the future, or places that you might look. And here's some encouragement for you, even though this is not what you want to hear.
As an author that has been on that side of the table, I appreciate that you will bring some tips and encouragement to these authors that are being so vulnerable with their work. And I appreciate your heart for them as well. So for those that are interested in doing a one-on-one pitch session, what are you looking for? What can they do to prepare?
If they have a one page, that would be great. And to know what their book is. Okay, the hardest question, I'm sure you can relate to this, is what is your book about? You agonize over this thing for a year, 2 years, months, whatever it happens to be. And somebody asks you this question and you're like, I don't know. We do know the message is buried deep in our heart, but we've got to find a way to succinctly say it in a way that shows it's going to mean something to other people as well, how it's going to impact them. If we can show that succinctly in like an elevator pitch style where it's not 15 minutes of rambling, then that's a great thing. And having that one page is also key. I don't necessarily want to see samples of writing while I'm sitting there because the appointments are so short. Even if you were given 20, 25 minutes, it's still too short a time to really get a feel. I would rather get a feel for the author in that time than focus specifically on a piece of, okay, here's an essay I wrote, read it and tell me what you think kind of thing. I can sit down at my computer with your proposal and get a sense of your writing. I want to know you, and I want to know, is the premise for what you're pitching viable for Scrivenings Press? And I say it that way because it may not be viable for Scrivenings Press, but that doesn't mean it's not viable for someone else.
Thank you for that point, because I think a lot of authors forget that is that not only are you looking for quality writing, you're looking for a story that will fit in your catalog. And so I just really, again, I just appreciate all of this information and all the things that you're bringing to that one-on-one session for the author and for Scrivenings Press. So you mentioned a little bit about writing samples and things like that. I think a lot of people are confused about one sheets or one pages. And could you just briefly tell us what kinds of things they need to have in the one sheet?
Generally, if you have that hook that's going to draw, it's usually a sentence or two that's going to draw the attention and make you go, oh, I want to know more about this. It's got a little bit about the author, and it's got information about the story that would be pertinent to a potential publisher. So you want kind of not an outline of the story, not a full synopsis, but just a brief overview of the points of the story, the why it matters, the who it's going to matter to. A few of those things to just kind of pull in the attention and make somebody go, oh, now my appetite is whetted. I want to find out more. Something to tempt the publisher to want more.
Yeah, good. And I wanted to mention also, as you talked about an elevator pitch, if that is new information for anybody viewing this video, I highly encourage you to look up. You can even just search on some good websites. What is an elevator pitch? How do I develop an elevator pitch? There's a lot of good information out there about that. And basically, as Heather mentioned, you just want to boil your story down to the core point. And the idea behind it is that you could give this premise of your story in about the amount of time it takes to ride an elevator from a floor to another floor. That's why it's called an elevator pitch. But it's very important to develop not only for one-on-ones, But when you're interacting with other authors as well, when someone says, tell me about your story, as much as they care about you and care about your story, they don't want to hear paragraphs upon paragraphs about your story. You want to whet their appetite with this one sentence elevator pitch premise idea. And then if they want to know more, they'll ask more. So I think everybody, even if you're not planning on pitching, needs to look into developing an elevator pitch for your story. And I think that we have come to my last question.
Okay.
Thank you so much for all this wonderful information. But I wanted to know, what is your favorite thing about writers' conferences? And if someone's kind of on the fence about whether or not to go to a writers' conference, what is something you would tell them about why they should sign up?
There is so much to love about writers' conferences, and I love Kentucky Christian Writers' Conference. Honestly, I first experienced it during the year of COVID. So it was online, and it was done so phenomenally well that I had to be involved with it. And I've attended it since then, and I just really love the heart that's there. And a lot of Christian conferences will have that heart. They're there to build up. They're there to teach and encourage. And there is so much great information because the publishing industry is changing constantly. There's so much great information that you can take to build your craft, to build your understanding of how to get published, to build your understanding of how to market. All of that's in there, and you can find that there, and it kind of helps fill in the weak spots that we have. But to me, the absolute best part is the community. I have met some of my best writing friends through conferences, people that I wouldn't have met otherwise, people that are an integral part of not just my writing life, but my life now. And we build each other up and we help each other. And when one of us is struggling with something or get inside our head or whatever it is, the others are able to go, okay, reality check. Let's look at this from a different perspective and get back on the horse and keep going. And so that community that you have with other Christian authors it's needed. It is very needed. And you can build that so well through Christian Writers Conferences.
I could not agree more. The first time I came to Kentucky Christian Writers Conference, it was actually my first Christian Writers Conference. I'd only been to one other small conference locally, but this was my first Christian Writers Conference. And I stepped into the main area where we were having the keynote. First time, a little nervous, a little scared, but I sat down and I said, these are my people. Even though I didn't know anyone, I knew that I was among people that got it, got the challenge of writing for a Christian market, got the challenge of what it means to be a paper missionary, got that I talk to my characters sometimes. And like you're saying, could encourage me in my writing and in my walk with Christ. And that is so valuable. But I want to say thank you, Heather, for your time today. Thank you for what you're bringing to Kentucky Christian Writers Conference. And I appreciate all the things that you have said and taking the time to say them. So everybody out there, our early bird is ending maybe before this YouTube video goes out. The prices go up on July 1st, but you definitely want to come and hear Heather Greer and even try to meet with her one-on-one, whether you're pitching or not, because she brings a lot to the table. So thank you again, and thank you for viewing. Bye.
Bye.